So you're here for some more, even more manga recommendations, you greedy pig. And honestly, I don't even think I'm the most qualified person. I mean, there's Chibi reviews right across the street. And I mean, you got Scamboli like 2 blocks ahead. Like, you could just go there, but you're here instead. You sure you don't want to go to Sufferance, who's like right around the corner now? Okay. So when it comes to these manga recommendations, keep in mind some of these are ones that I've read a little more recently, and some of these are as old as almost a year now that I've read them. However, I just haven't done them in an individual review as a video, or I did have an individual review of them, but I didn't like how the video turned out, so the video is no longer here. Either way, I think this is a really effective form of me being able to do the goal with this channel, talk about some of the big hit names and my thoughts about them, as well as kind of recommend you some obscure manga that I enjoy as well, or well, a little more obscure. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the first manga. The first one is KAIJI. Now, KAIJI is one of those that I had read a while back, and it's a gambling manga, and in all honesty, I can't really say how it compares to other gambling stories within the world of manga. For instance, I really want to read Usugoi, but it's like 500 chapters, so I haven't gone around to it. But what I will say is my experience with KAIJI has been one of the most enjoyable that I can remember. One of the things that might be a little off-putting or odd at first glance is the art style, but I guarantee you it's absolutely essential to the experience when reading KAIJI, as since it's about gambling, one of the greatest things in terms of captivating you emotionally is the facial expressions. They're super extreme and over the top, and they really help convey the sense of dread or excitement whenever a character is about to win or lose. And KAIJI as a protagonist is absolutely insane, and the protagonist of KAIJI is an absolute mastermind, and he's all about high risk, high reward, and of course that just puts in the ultimate stakes for some of the greatest climaxes that you'll read. When reading KAIJI, I was standing up walking around while reading it because I just couldn't sit still while reading KAIJI. I just physically couldn't. It drew me in that much into the hype and the excitement of the moment. You feel so invested in all of the different gambles that happen throughout this entire series, and the best thing about KAIJI for me is, on top of all of that, is the unpredictability of it. Because even if you can guess who's gonna win, you can't really guess how you think they're gonna win. I thought I predicted KAIJI right like 50 different times, and I was so wrong every single time. And for me, there's almost no better feeling as someone who reads manga than a story going above and beyond what I thought it was capable of doing. So if you haven't read KAIJI, I highly recommend that you do so. Now, this one I was actually considering saving for another video, but I really want to throw it in here as it's one of my favorite manga of all time, and it's Real by Takehiko Inoue. Now, you might be familiar with Inoue because of his works Vagabond and Slam Dunk, which in my eyes are both like top tier manga in and of themselves, but Real is special for me in a slightly different way. It's about wheelchair basketball predominantly, and the real beauty about Real is, well, actually within the title itself. It feels real. Of all the other kind of sports manga that tend to exaggerate a lot of things, Real is really able to go into the psychology behind an athlete and recovering from certain things like not being able to play the sport that you love anymore, or just being sidelined because of injury or personal reasons. Really looking at the resilience and the different growths that the characters in Real go through is really inspirational, and as someone who's played sports and has gone through some of these things, it just hits home for me a lot. And of course, I can't talk about a work of Inoue without bringing up the artwork, right? Within Slam Dunk, we got to see him evolve as an artist, and Vagabond push it further, but Real is just incredible at showing the emotion of these characters in a very realistic type feel, as well as, of course, all of the other things that Inoue tends to show off in terms of his artistic ability. So, of course, I think if you've gone through similar things as some of the characters within Real, it will attach to you a little more emotionally, but I think it's one of those stories that is for anybody. Also, quick side note, you know what, actually, I'll talk about Blue Lock in like a small little video I'll probably upload before this one. So let me go record that video and drop it, and then I'll be right back to this one. Okay, so I lied. It took a little longer. I got busy later on in the day, but moving on to the next manga, BEASTARS. BEASTARS, I'm still kind of early on in. I'm only like 60 chapters in, but I don't need to read any more to tell you that you need to hop on this story. If you've kind of like not gone into it like I did because of the whole animal aesthetic, like throw that out the window, please. It is actually such a dope concept, and in the way that it's been executed is great. Essentially tackling what carnivores are like, having to coexist in the same society as herbivores, essentially what the animal kingdom would look like if society was structured like us as human beings. So basically Zootopia, but better, and I honestly just really enjoy the way it goes about things. Now, the artwork is a little funky, so if you are someone who wants to watch it through the anime, as I have heard the anime is actually really good, you can do that, but for a manga, I still absolutely love the experience. The main selling point that I could give you is really the protagonist, Legoshi, who is just like an all-around package. I have absolutely no flaws in terms of his writing as a character, as I think the presentation of one's own inner desires and having to suppress said desires in order to live in a society is done so well. And I love how the author really gives this hint to Legoshi of timidness despite his chaotic capacity for like just all around mayhem due to the species he is. Fun fact, the author of BEASTARS is the daughter of the author of Baki. So some of the fight scenes in BEASTARS are really cool as well, but I think BEASTARS truly covers a multiplicity of themes, and it's an experience that I can't really say any other manga has offered me, so that's always a major plus. So I can understand the animal aesthetic being a little odd at times, but just push through it because I think it's a story that, if anything, deserves that at least. I'll also throw out this recommendation quickly, as I'm also really early on in this story, but I don't want to talk too much about it, as I think it's something I want to save for a separate video, and that's Battle Angel Alita. Really dope manga so far, kind of a futuristic robot setting, so if you read Pluto, you might be a little familiar with the feeling of it, but just throwing that out there as a quick update, as what I am reading will probably be on the next manga recommendations video. And so for the final one for this video is Horimiya. Horimiya is probably one of the most wholesome and enjoyable manga that I've read, and I really like wholesome and enjoyable series to help counterbalance all of the other dark, depressing, psychological thrillers that I read at times. Still relatively early on within this one as well, I'm only 70 chapters in, so I don't really know if I'd put it up there with Kaguya-sama, but I don't think it's that far behind. So with that being said, if you are an enjoyer of series like Kaguya-sama or Spy X Family, then I think you would absolutely enjoy Horimiya as well. It starts off in a school setting, of course, and what you essentially have is Horimiya, the girl, or Hori-san, is this girl who's a hardworking individual at home, but at school she's a relatively popular girl. She's a little bit tough, dominant-like, aggressive, but overall is a genuine person. And then you have the guy in the series, Miyamura, who is a bit more of an introvert shut-in, and they both kind of hide their true selves from the school. And Miyamura goes through this incredible development and change as the series goes on through his relationship with Hori-san. I think it's a really good depiction of how two people can improve for the better within a good and healthy relationship, each learning things from each other and having the desire to improve to make a relationship work out. And it's just overall a funny and just enjoyable read. There are so many awe moments within the series where you're reading it and you can't just help but smile, and I really do like stories like that. So if you're someone who loves the whole comedy romance type of thing, more so romance in this one than comedy, then Horimiya is a definite go. Hopefully you check these out if you are interested, and if you've already read all of them, well then again, good for you. Also, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, that way you're notified whenever a new video pops up on some of your favorite anime, manga, or whatever content. As always, this has been The Masked Man. Hope you have a blessed rest of the day, and peace.